what's-up approach. So English is already a difficult language to learn. What makes it even more difficult is some of the language that we maybe learn and study in school a lot of times is different jargon, different language or slang, expressions that are different outside of the classroom than it is spoken inside of the classroom. So quickly I want to go over just some of these vocabulary words that are an example of some Boston jargon or Boston slang. And then afterwards, I want to incorporate this vocabulary into a story I wrote. So, first, if you're driving, or maybe you are driving, you're an Uber driver, and someone is giving you directions, and they say, bang a left. They're really telling you to take a left, to bang a left. Or they might tell you to hook, hang a right, but not to bang a right, but to hook or to hang a right. So, but let's say you come to a light and you don't need to go left, you don't need to go right, you need to turn around, you pop a U-ey, a U-turn, a U-ey to pop it around. So, Boston is a city of Boston baked beans. So many people call Boston Beantown. But if you're a masshole, somebody who is from Massachusetts and really proud of being from Massachusetts, they never really call Boston Beantown. It's just Boston. Beantown is kind of an expression, a jargon word for Boston, for people outside of Boston to call Boston. So, but everybody knows the Boston Red Sox. People talk about Red Sox Nation. To shorten Boston, a lot of people just call the Red Sox the Bo Sox. So you might hear people saying, go Bo Sox! Or if people are maybe at a school and they don't want to buy a water bottle, they want to just get some water from the fountain, they call a water fountain a bubbler. So everybody loves New England clam chowder. New England clam chowder, they simply just call it chowder, or as Bostonians say, chowder. But somebody who's a chowderhead is like a jargon word, some slang for calling somebody stupid. Hey, quit being a chowderhead. So, moving on. The Common. So, in central downtown Boston, we have the Boston Common. A lot of people just simply refer to it as the Common. It's the only common, it's the Boston Common, the Common. A lot of people, maybe when they go out for a big event, maybe they're going out to a nightclub or a wedding, they want to get dressed nice, so they want to get decked out. Hey, you look good, you got really decked out for the wedding, you might hear a Bostonian say. So, Boston has many houses, have basements, or as Bostonians call, a cellar. A cellar. Moving on, the garden. So there's the legendary The Boston Garden, where the Celtics and the Bruins played. Now it's called the TD Garden, but still Bostonians just refer to it as the Garden. But back to what a masshole is. So this word may look a little funny because it may sound like it's a derogatory word to put down somebody, but a lot of people from Massachusetts take a lot of pride in where they are from, and they are proud to be a masshole. Somebody who loves the Red Sox, loves the Patriots, loves clam chowder. They love Boston. They're obsessed with Boston. Boston is their life. It's where they're from. It's where they're at. That's a masshole. And a masshole, a lot of times, might travel down the pike. The Mass Pike, it's only just the pike. Only the Mass Pike, the pike. So, but if you're driving on the pike, you have to be careful not to drive too fast, or else you might get pulled over by a statey. A statey is a state trooper. So if you get pulled over driving too fast by a statey, you're going to get an expensive ticket. So be careful not to speed too fast when you're driving on the pike. But also, a word that I think is used all throughout the US, but very much so here in Boston, you might hear somebody refer to somebody who doesn't look like they fit in, somebody who looks off, somebody who looks strange. They call that person sketchy. He's sketchy, he's weird, stay away from him. That's a sketchy person. Or maybe you go to a place and it's dark and you're unsure about if you should be there because the place is sketchy. So a lot of people who don't have a car, or because Boston traffic is so hectic sometimes, they ride the T. T, transportation, but simply we just call it the T. You got the blue line, the green line, the orange line, the red line. It's all part of the T. Massachusetts, to pay for the T, to pay for the train, to pay for the nice highway that we have, the Pike, is very expensive. People who live in Massachusetts have to pay a lot of money in taxes, so a lot of people simply call Massachusetts Taxachusetts. But moving on to maybe if you go to a game at Fenway Park and you watch a pitcher, you'd watch the pitcher whip, throw the ball really fast. Not to whip like to whip somebody with a rope, but to whip, to throw the ball really fast, or to watch Tom Brady whip the football into the end zone. But if you're driving on that Pike and a statey sees you, you've got to be careful to not get bagged, to get caught, or even if someone says to get bagged, they're talking about getting arrested. So, wicked pissa is a very funny term in Boston, because a lot of times you'll hear people use the word wicked. Oh, it's wicked awesome, wicked great, wicked bad, wicked delicious, wicked strange, wicked sketchy, wicked. It's just wicked. But a lot of times, one of the most Bostonian jargon phrases there is wicked pissa. Wicked pissa could mean it's amazing. Maybe you have some pizza, and it's like the best pizza you've had in a long, long time. This pizza is wicked pissa. But wicked pissa can also mean if someone's had too much to drink, they're pissed. They're wicked pissa, someone who is drunk. So Boston jargon is kind of very funny sometimes. People in Boston speak very uniquely. Boston accent is kind of one of the most made fun of accents in all of the United States, but at the same time, it's also an accent that is very unique, and many people, many massholes, are very proud to call Boston their home. So they use this jargon to celebrate their uniqueness for this great city that we live in. So now, using some of this Boston jargon that a masshole may use, I wrote a story incorporating some of this language. So I'm going to read it twice. Once in my masshole accent, and then I will read it again, slowly going over some of these vocabulary words. Did you hear what happened to Joe? He went to the Bo Sox game and got wicked pissa. He should have taken the T, but he's a chowderhead and took the Pike. Right before he got on the Pike, he hooked a right at a no-turn-on red sign, and a statey pulled him over. The cop gave him a breathalyzer, and since Joe was drunk as a skunk, he got bagged. He spent all his money he had saved on bail and lawyer fees, and now he hangs out by the common all day and outside the garden at night, asking people for change. He has his trial coming up and needs to get decked out in a suit. He asked his sister for some cash, but she thinks he's sketchy and won't even let him live in a cellar. Bottom line is you gotta be wicked smart, like me, and never drink and drive. Maybe next time, Joe will drink water from the bubbler. So, now leaving my masshole accent, let's go back and let's think about what happened to Joe. Did you hear what happened to Joe? He went to the Red Sox game at Fenway and got wicked pissa. He drank way too much. He should have taken the T. He shouldn't have drove. He drank, so it was a bad idea for Joe to drive. But he's a chowderhead. He's stupid. Stupid people drink too much and drive. And took the Pike. He drove on the highway, the Mass Pike. Right before he got on the Pike, he hooked a right. He took a right at a no-turn-on red sign. And a state trooper, the state police, pulled him over. The cop gave him a breathalyzer, And since Joe was as drunk as a skunk, very drunk, he got bagged, he got caught, and he got arrested. He spent all his money he had saved on bail to get out of jail and lawyer fees for a lawyer to help him in his DUI. And now he hangs out by the common all day and outside the garden at night asking people for change. Now Joe's a bum. He has his trial coming up and needs to get decked out in a suit. He has a trial coming. He can't look like a bum in court. He has to wear a suit. So he needs money. And he's being a bum to get money to buy a suit, to be decked out and look nice in court. He asked his sister for some cash, some money, but she thinks he's sketchy. He's weird. He's a bum. He hangs out around the park and asks people for money and won't even let him live in her cellar. So Joe's sister, she's kind of being mean, a little. I mean, she maybe loves her brother Joe, but Joe, he's weird, he's strange. Joe's a chowderhead. And so she won't even let Joe live in her basement at the bottom of her house. Bottom line, so the lesson to be learned is you gotta be wicked smart. You have to be very smart, or maybe you just have to use common sense, like me, and never drink and drive. So maybe next time, the next time Joe goes to a Bo Sox game, if Joe's even ever going to be able to afford to go to another game, because tickets at Fenway are very expensive, Joe will drink water from the bubbler, the water fountain. Water is safe to drink and then drive. Water from the bubbler is free, so you don't have to spend a lot of money. So if Joe's smart, he'll never drink and drive again. And if Joe is smart, he won't waste his money on alcohol at the game or even bottles of water at the game. He's just going to drink it from the bubbler, outside the bathroom, from the water fountain. Good luck to you, Joe.